There wasn't a ton of offense, but the Eagles got it when they needed it. Jalen Hurts with a 36-yard bomb to Devontae Smith to get the Eagles into the end zone and ultimately go on to beat the Green Bay Packers. Low-scoring affair, but nonetheless, that win sending the Eagles to the top of the NFC standings. And hey, speaking of, let's take a look at them, shall we? Here's a look at the NFC picture following the conclusion of Week 10. Like I mentioned, Eagles owning that top seed in the division with their 7-2 record, followed by the Seahawks, who's leading the NFC West, currently have that tiebreaker over the Rams. The Lions now jump the Packers. Packers were sitting atop of the NFC North, now moving to second. Lions owning that 3 seed, and the Bucks sitting atop of the South. Back here with Bryant, McFadden, and Emory Hunt. And fellas, after that Monday night victory, Eagles sitting at 7-2 and also sitting with that number 1 seed in the NFC. But guys, just considering what we saw on Monday night, do you believe that the Eagles have enough firepower, and I'm looking at their offense specifically, to maintain this 1 seed the rest of this way, Emory?
Yes, I feel like I feel like they do, because again, at some point, Saquon Barkley is going to get rolling. A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts are going to get on the same page. It's good that they have something going with Dallas Goedert and also Devonta Smith. And what you're seeing right now is waiting for the other two to catch fire. We know Saquon will do that because that's the running game, especially this time of season. But the real connection we're waiting to see is A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts. And I feel as though we will see that. Plus, this team is mentally tough. They're battle tested. There's a big reason why we've seen them in the Super Bowl 2 out of the last 3 years. And it looked like they're steamrolling to that again because they know how to handle stress. They know how to handle success. And that's why they're right now the number 1 seed.
Yeah, I second that. I think they have enough because personnel-wise, they have the dudes. They have talent. You would never question, is there enough talent for them to sustain a high level of play? It's about seeing that said talent on display in a consistent rate, and I think they will get it going. But their defense is now starting to come alive, which is important when you look at the moves they made via trades and stuff like that. Seeing Jalen Phillips really take off is encouraging. And eventually you get Jair Alexander healthy as well to help the secondary. But the key main factor for me in terms of Philly maintaining this top seed is the easiest schedule in terms of what they have in their division. The NFC East. I mean, it's basically a 1-team race right now in the NFC East. The next best team is the Dallas Cowboys. But when you look at the other teams that are fighting for that number 1 spot, the Seattle Seahawks and the Rams, they're going to have to face each other. They could eliminate each other in terms of losses. Not to mention, you still have San Francisco hovering around also. And then you look at the NFC North, right, with Detroit, Green Bay, Chicago, Minnesota, those teams will eliminate each other as well. So just the in-division business, the other teams that are behind Philly, that gauntlet they have to go through. I think it helps the Philadelphia Eagles' chances because their division is not as competitive.
Yeah, and speaking of that Seahawks-Rams, they're going to see each other in
Sunday.
Week 11. So that one's going to be interesting to watch. But B-Mac, now I do want to talk about the Packers because on the other side of this Monday night showdown, now sitting at 5-3-1, they're falling from 2 in the standings to now 7. Lions sitting atop of the NFC North. Was this the last that we saw of the Packers sitting atop of the North?
I think so. The thing about the Packers, they have talent, just like the Philadelphia Eagles. But we haven't seen that talent flourish and showcase the high-level play that we know they could. Starting with their quarterback in Jordan Love. I understand he was dealing with some injuries at the wide receiver position, at the tight end position. But great quarterbacks elevate the guys around them. And we did not see that today. Yes, Philadelphia played really, really good football, but they're not the monsters of the midway, right? They have been vulnerable in times, especially in the secondary, and Jordan Love never exploited those matchups in their favor. And going back to last week against Carolina, right? When you look at the losses, they have some confusing losses. Losing early on to the Cleveland Browns. And right after that loss, you tie with the Dallas Cowboys. Can't get any stops. You can't get the necessary plays going to be able to win that ball game. And then last week you lose to Carolina, who just lost to New Orleans Sunday. So any one of those mishaps could be a telling sign for the Green Bay Packers potentially not getting into the playoffs, better yet, holding on to a top seed and winning their division.
And what's also interesting about these losses that we're talking about, these questionable losses, this offense failing to score 13 points in those losses. That's kind of been their story, the offense not producing.
They're in the business of giving bad teams confidence. You saw what that loss to the Cleveland Browns did to Cleveland Browns, right? They felt rejuvenated.
Yeah.
You saw what that did to the Carolina Panthers. Hey, are the Panthers back? Are they winning the division? You saw what that loss did with, any other team that they lost to, the bad teams, right? So my thing is, we're asking the same questions about this Packers team each and every week. What are we going to get from their passing game? What type of offense we're going to see from them? What we're not questioning, what could help them out in this division, is their defense. But at the end of the day, it's about offense. And when we're looking around the division and we're looking at offense, we're looking at Chicago Bears starting to figure things out. They got a lot of weapons. We're looking at Detroit, just understanding how to play offensive, explosive football. So when we don't have questions about the Green Bay Packers offense, and we're looking around the rest of the division, even Minnesota, although there's a slight question about their quarterback, we know their offense has the ability to score. And so Green Bay, as talented as they are, still have questions, and they got that raggedy tie sitting there too. So I think that's going to be the issue with them in that division.
Remember what I said about November football, when you get close to Thanksgiving, playoff teams, you're either thriving or you're surviving. Right now, when you look at the Green Bay Packers, it looks like they're surviving.
Right.
They're not thriving, which is disappointing to see when you talk about the talent and the expectations. That's why I don't have any faith in the Green Bay Packers. Yeah, we saw stagnant play offensively from the Eagles, but I have more faith in Philly getting right than the Green Bay Packers. So me personally, this is a very, very trying time for Green Bay because Detroit, they're thriving.
Yep.
Chicago, they're thriving. And you never know what you can get from Minnesota.
You're gonna get defense,
it's a trying time for Packer fans because the last 2 weekends, it hasn't been encouraging into what you've watched solely from your offense because your defense has been playing winning football.
And I remember hearing one of you guys speaking pregame. It almost feels as if they played down to their competition. And I'm not speaking about the Eagles. You would think they would be playing up to them, but that's kind of been the thorn in their side so far in their losses. But nonetheless, fellas, taking a look again at this playoff picture. Now, taking a look at these 7 teams that we currently have, if the season ended today, they would be in. But do you think that these are the 7 that we will see, B-Mac, when things are all said and done?
I don't think so.
No? Okay.
I think when you talk about the Green Bay Packers, I'm a bit concerned. And here's why. Their schedule, the next, 6-7 weeks, you have the Giants coming up this weekend at the Giants. Now, one would think they should be able to win that game. But to Emory's point, the Packers do a great job giving bad teams confidence. So we don't know. Outside of the Giants, they have Minnesota, at Detroit, Chicago, at Denver, at Chicago again, and then Baltimore. Now, outside of the lonely New York Giants, every other team is currently in a playoff spot or fighting for one. And the team that's fighting for one is at the tail end in the Baltimore Ravens. Every other team outside of Minnesota's fighting for one as well. But every other team is in the playoffs currently. So it won't get any easier for the Green Bay Packers when you look at their schedule and how they finish out the season. That's why I don't have any voters' confidence in the Packers solidifying a top 7 spot to get into the playoffs as we see it today. It could change, but if you're asking me this question right now like you are, Kiana, I don't have any faith the Packers can get one of these top 7 spots.
I do, and because when you ripped off that schedule, I didn't hear Wisconsin Whitewater, I didn't hear Wisconsin Eau Claire, I didn't hear Wisconsin Lacrosse.
I don't even know those teams.
So there's no bad teams on there, right? There's good teams on it, so they'll play up to that competition, right? The Giants game is always going to be questioned because you have the dead cat bouncing a bad team, playing really well, fired their head coach. But I will say this: preseason, I had the Bears winning the division. The one team I had missing the playoffs out this division, I had 3 out the North getting there. One was not Detroit Lions. But when you look at where Detroit is playing now, I didn't have the Lions or I didn't have the Vikings. So with the Lions being good right now, I still think the Packers can get it done. The teams I had in over the Lions, Rams, and Bucks were the Cowboys, Cardinals, and Falcons. So if we look at the Cowboys, we can't trust their defense.
Your whole prediction list is.
Yeah, but I had the Bears in, and so the Cowboys can't trust their defense. Cardinals, we can't trust their quarterback situation. Falcons can't play nobody. You can't trust them at all. So I think the 7 teams we see now are the 7 teams we're going to see in. Seeding was going to be key.
All right, we have about a few more weeks until it all figures itself out. But as of right now, Packers seeing themselves sliding down the list, looking to stay in that mix as we stand. Fellas, good stuff. But taking a look at the odds to make the playoffs in the NFC.
Later 10,000 with the Eagles?
For the Eagles?
Yeah, later 10,000.
Not getting much value right there, but they're also followed by the Rams. The Seahawks were sitting at 7-2 on the year. The Bucks, you're looking for another NFC South title. Followed by Lions, -700. 49ers still in that mix, -370. They're even above the Packers, -355. Wow.